At the beginning of our movie, we see a scene where Ranvijay has now aged and is likely telling a funny story to his friends on his father's 100th birthday anniversary.
How truly endless can love for a father be?
The story begins at the Ranvijay school, where we see that Ranvijay is punished by his teacher for not completing his homework. He then runs away from school in search of his father. When he gets home, he asks his mother about his father's whereabouts, and then he looks for him at his father's factory. He deeply loves his father.
Poor Ranvijay.
In the evening, Ranvijay's mother approaches his father and says, "Your son has gone to sleep, but he has written a letter for you." Balbir Singh then opens the letter. The letter reads, "Dad, in the next life, I will be your father, and I will love you very much. Then, in the life after that, you become my father again and show me affection in your own way, and this cycle will continue." The next day, Ranvijay offers chocolates and sweets to all the kids in his class, saying, "Today is my father's birthday. I love him so much. He's like a superhero to me." Years pass, and Ranvijay grows up. We see him at a dance party where his friend, Karthik, mentions that today his sister Gitanjali is getting engaged. Ranvijay and Gitanjali were classmates in school, and therefore he doesn't seem too happy about this news. Then he turns to Gitanjali and tells her, "Don't call me brother. I don't feel sisterly feelings towards you either. The marriage that has been arranged for you isn't right for you. You should marry an alpha man, a warrior." Afterward, he argues with his friend Karthik about the marriage his sister is about to enter into. At the 60th birthday celebration of Balbir, Ranvijay gets into a discussion with his sister's husband, Varun. It seems Varun tells Ranvijay to welcome and show respect to a group of guests invited by Varun. Ranvijay responds by saying, "You know nothing about respect, job, and family," and tells him, "You're nothing but a monkey." Meanwhile, his sister Roop gestures to their younger brother Varun to come over and put an end to the argument. Ranvijay's father becomes aware of the situation and confronts him, saying, "What kind of behavior was that towards our son-in-law?" He warns that such actions could lead to Ranvijay being sent away from home and family again, just like the time he was sent to boarding school. During the commotion, Ranvijay is reminded of a time when his sister was harassed while attending school. Ranvijay explains that when their father was busy working at the Swastik steel plant and his sister needed help, he stepped forward. Taking up an AK-47, he confronted the bullies, questioning the value of being the wealthiest person in the region if one cannot protect their sister at school or university. His father harshly criticized Ranvijay, saying, "You have committed a crime with this act." In response, Ranvijay said to his father, "Then what you did to me is also a crime." At a family gathering, Ranvijay comes forward and apologizes to Varun, their son-in-law. Later, he gets into another argument with his father, complaining, "Father, it seems you love me less than your son-in-law, as if Varun is your real son and I am your disobedient and illegitimate child." Balbir, upset by these words, slaps Ranvijay sharply across the face. Meanwhile, Karthik, accompanied by his sister Gitanjali, arrives to support Ranvijay, who had been thrown out of the house for refusing to marry the bride of his parents' choice. Ranvijay introduces Gitanjali, his childhood sweetheart, to his father, who, however, remains cold towards them. At the same time, Gitanjali's family is also against their marriage, but Ranvijay, in defiance of their wishes, kisses her in front of her family and marries her. Against the odds, they go on to honeymoon in America. Interestingly, Ranvijay flies to America with the love of his life on a private plane, revealing a previously unknown side of this rebellious son, his piloting skills. Along the way, they share many moments of affection and thoroughly enjoy each other's company. As their wedding festivities and honeymoon continue, at one point, Gitanjali says to Ranvijay, "You don't want to become a father, perhaps like your own father." Ranvijay gets upset and responds, Please don't talk about this. I will tell you the truth about anything else, but not this. My father is the best father in the world. At one point, while sleeping on the plane, they are suddenly jolted awake by the aircraft's alarm warning of low altitude and the danger of crashing. Ranvijay quickly takes control of the situation to prevent a fall. In a scene from the film that likely pertains to the future, we see Ranvijay and his crew attacking a party. There, Varun encounters his sister's husband, captures him, and strangles him on the spot, and then shoots the body with a gun. We only know that, presumably, he had his reasons for doing this. After an 8-year absence, Ranvijay, along with his wife Gitanjali and their 2 children, returns to India. Upon discovering that his father has narrowly survived an assassination attempt, we see Varun attempting to belittle him with his actions. And this moment marks the first signs of the murder scene where Ranvijay will kill Varun. Ranvijay and his family witness the surgical scars on his father's body, a poignant moment that hardens Ranvijay's resolve to find and bring down whoever is responsible for the attack. Ranvijay goes to seek help from the Dalbir family. Addressing Dalbir, he says, "My father is a man known to all, but we no longer trust our own guards." He tries to enlist the allegiance of his cousins, and Dalbir agrees to help him, a courageous act that begins to bridge the divide between the 2 families against their enemies. Ranvijay, in collaboration with his father, devises a plan to uncover a spy within their security team. They create a decoy of his father, as Ranvijay suspects Varun. They send the father's double to a location predetermined by Varun, but Asra and his crew end up killing the decoy. The next day, as everyone gathers to pay their respects to the individual who was shot in place of Balbir, Mishra, a close associate of Ranvijay's father, plants a tracker and listening device in Varun's phone. Ironically, at that very moment, Varun is caught speaking with Asra. This is when we realize why Varun is eventually killed by Vijay. It turns out that Varun was a dirty spy working for Asra. Ranvijay converses with his friend Freddy, who possesses an arsenal of alluring and unique weaponry, including a colossal machine gun that Ranvijay discusses with him. They engage in dialogue at a hotel while an army of men, led by their commander Asra, is launching an attack on them. Ranvijay begins to eliminate each of Asra's people one by one. He does so as though he relishes the act, crafting a symphony laden with crimson, as if he is an artist, and his art is the more elaborate dispatching of his father's adversaries.
Wow, what excitement! What a battle! For a moment, Ranvijay imagines he's become Rambo. He wields an automatic heavy weapon and unleashes a barrage of bullets upon them all.
After Ranvijay's games ended and he set everything ablaze, Asra the coward attacked him from behind, shooting Ranvijay in the shoulder, clearly not a good marksman. But his gun had no bullets left. Ranvijay and his men captured him, and although Ranvijay knew that Asra's brothers would come for him, he ended Asra with a bullet. After this incident, Ranvijay was severely injured and had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks. During this time, he lost his hearing, and the doctors informed him that due to a heart condition that had arisen, he would need to undergo a heart transplant. However, Ranvijay, despite his condition, didn't heed the doctor's advice. He insisted that he would recover soon, got discharged, and went home because he couldn't let go of the idea of avenging his father's enemies. While at home, he saw his sister Reet mourning her husband, Varun. He told her, "I killed your husband." Reet got angry and hit Ranvijay with her hands, but Ranvijay said to her, "If you had a shred of sense in your head, you wouldn't shed tears for him. He was directly involved in planning the failed assassination of our father." Gitanjali turns to Ranvijay and says, "You've lost your mind, and I'm afraid of what you're doing. You're killing yourself." He angers her, but soon after, Ranvijay apologizes to her. Meanwhile, we see a scene featuring Abrar engaged in a marriage ceremony with his third wife. He is the brother of Asra. During the ceremony, He receives the news of his brother Azrar's death and goes insane. He is as merciless and bloodthirsty as Ranvijay. Months have passed since Ranvijay's recovery when suddenly his old flame, Zoya, reappears. She has come to see Ranvijay after many years. But why? Initially, Ranvijay isn't very welcoming towards her. However, he later offers her to stay at his grandfather's residence for a while. The day after, Ranvijay visits his grandfather's house to meet Zoya, and that's when he makes a grave mistake. The flames of passion lead him to betray Gitanjali and have an affair with Zoya. His grandfather finds out, and with a twisted sense of humor, says that his body needs excitement and dopamine too. Meanwhile, Gitanjali is worried due to Ranvijay's silence, and he is not answering his phone. In a subsequent scene, Ranvijay has ordered a beautiful car Rolls-Royce gift for Zoya, but as soon as it's delivered, it explodes. It seems there was a bomb hidden inside. Zoya then reveals she was sent by Abrar to eliminate Ranvijay, but couldn't go through with it. She discloses that Abrar had planned to have his younger brother Aziz undergo plastic surgery to look like Ranvijay. The plan was to replace Ranvijay with Aziz, who would then kill their father, leaving their father to wonder how someone who would risk their life to protect him could end up killing him. Ranvijay understands from his grandfather that Abrar, Asrar, Abid, and Aziz are all brothers and second cousins to Ranvijay. They are the grandsons of his grandfather's younger brother. Abrar lost his ability to speak in an accident that he witnessed where his grandfather committed suicide. He has gone to Scotland in search of a plan to take revenge on Balbir, intending to kill him. Ranvijay came to Gitanjali and confessed that he had slept with Zoya and that they had been intimate. Gitanjali was deeply upset and asked him why they didn't use a condom. Overcome with emotion, she told him that his father was a disease, and as long as he lived, they would never have peace. Ranvijay was hurt by her words and, in a fit of anger, grabbed a gun but shot at the wall instead. Ranvijay's parents heard the shot and asked what happened. He dismissed it as just a trivial marital spat. Gradually, they spoke and cleared the air between them and eventually made love. Ranvijay and his team made their way to Scotland. Entering their accommodation, they questioned his mother and wives about his whereabouts. They eventually discovered that he intended to fly out on a private plane. They located the airport, circled it with their car, and besieged the place, waiting for him to emerge. They catch sight of each other and begin fighting hand to hand. Beforehand, they instruct their forces not to intervene or open fire, no matter what happens. Today is the day that one of them is destined to die.
Oh boy, what a fierce hand-to-hand battle they had. Both, driven by revenge for their families, fought fiercely and left each other bloodied. Just as Ranvijay was about to overpower Abrar, he said to him, "Brother, you are my brother. Come, tell me you have no quarrel with my father." But Abrar's allies informed him that Abrar couldn't speak. Meanwhile, Ranvijay's hearing aid had fallen out during the fight, rendering him unable to hear. In the end, Ranvijay concluded the fight, ensuring his father's safety by removing the last threat to his life. Ranvijay returns home happily and tells his father, "Father, I've killed him! The last person who wanted to take your life is gone. Now let's celebrate." But his father says to him, "My son, I am ill," and hands him the doctor's letter that states he has blood cancer. However, Ranvijay reassures him, "Don't worry, father. I know some good doctors who will improve your condition." His father replies, "My son, this sickness is not a person that you can simply get rid of. This time it's different." Later they argue, and Ranvijay tells him, "You never understood me, Dad. I was always thirsty for your affection." They decide to switch roles, father and son for once, so Ranvijay can prove that his father's behavior is why he has never been able to taste the sweet affection of a father. Realizing his mistake, the father addresses Ranvijay and says, "You're right. If I had treated you better, you wouldn't have resorted to such violence in life." He then shares his thought that in the next life, he will be Ranvijay's son, and Ranvijay will be his father. and that he must show him affection as this cycle continues.
As Ranvijay was weeping in Mishra's embrace, Gitanjali decides to leave Ranvijay and move to the United States. Yet, the fate of the children remained unclear, whether they would stay with their father or go with their mother. Following this, we see a scene where Zoya is speaking with Aziz, the younger brother of Abrar. Aziz, a master butcher, has now, after a surgical procedure, become a spitting image of Ranvijay. He takes out his frustrations on several of Ranvijay's associates who had been taken captive. Amidst these events, Zoya reveals to Aziz that she is pregnant. Aziz responds by saying that if the child doesn't resemble Ranvijay, then he will consider the child his own. The film ends with a scene showing Aziz, his face and clothing stained, consumed by a thirst for vengeance.
Thanks for watching to the end. Folks, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like us, subscribe and share us to your beloved ones.